It's time to take a look at third-degree heart block. Third-degree heart block is also known as complete heart block, and it is the final of the 4 heart blocks. I apologize that there are 3 degrees, but 4 different blocks. In normal conduction, as we've reviewed, the SA node speaks to the AV node, and then that travels through the Purkinje fibers to conduct electricity. In third-degree heart block, however, there is a blockade here. The SA node does its thing, the ventricles does its thing, but they are not coordinated at all. Here's an example of third-degree heart block. You see some regularity and some complexes, but what's going on here? So first, let's look at the P waves. Are those P waves regular? Well, if we look at this P to P, the distance between those 2 P waves, and compare it to the next P to P, that's the exact same distance. If we look at the QRS complexes, the distance between QRS complexes is consistent throughout the strip. The P to P is constant and the QRS is constant, but there's really no association between what's happening in the atria or manifested by the P waves and what's happening in the ventricles, which is manifest by the QRSs. Like I said, there's a total block between what's happening in the SA node and causing a P wave as that contraction moves through the atria, and what's happening in the ventricles or the QRS complex. The second way that you can determine, do I have a third-degree heart block, is to look at the PR interval. Remember, the PR is the key to blocks. See the PR interval here on the first complex that I've highlighted? If you compare the length of that PR to the length of the second PR and the third PR I've highlighted here, you'll see that they are clearly not consistent. There's also no pattern. So remember in your second degree type 1, Mobitz 1, Winky-Bach, that's an elongation pattern. These 3 complexes that I've highlighted certainly are not getting longer before the drop. And of course, we still have extra P waves hanging out. If this helps you, it has helped other students. First degree heart block is constant but long. Winky-Bach is lengthened. Mobitz 2 is the same when you have a conducted beat, but in complete heart block, the PR interval is totally inconsistent and there's no relation between the P waves and the QRSs. The third method that you can use to determine, do I have third degree heart block, is to look for some hidden P waves. There are P waves here on the strip that everyone can identify, but there's actually some hidden ones. So if we did our P to P interval, we're going to find some hidden ones. So let's start with here. We know it's the same length in between. And now when we look here, if you look at the morphology of that QRS and T wave, you'll see that there is a P wave hidden in that T wave. Over here on that same component of the strip, over here, you don't see that morphology or change in the complex. If we keep going, same distance, and lo and behold, if you look on that morphology, on the uptick, instead of straight, like here on the beginning and here on this wave, this one actually has a little hitch to it. And again, same distance, same distance. Let's do some practice. So is this regular? Why, yes. The P to Ps are regular. The ventricles QRSs are regular, as demonstrated by my caliper pictures here. But then they're really not working together. If you just look at the distance between those and the distance between the QRSs, there is no coordination. The second method to do I have a third degree heart block is looking at that PR interval, because PR is the key to blocks. And I've highlighted here how the PR interval changes with each complex. None of these are the same, and they certainly don't follow a pattern. And then of course we could look for some hidden P waves. And I'm going to change my color here. If we have, oh, that you can't see that very well. How about some yellow? So there's a P in there. There's a P here on the end of that T wave. There's a P here in that T wave, another P over here. So you can see that, yes, those P waves march throughout the strip. A final example here, real quick, is this regular? Well, I have regular P waves, I have regular QRSs, but they're not coordinated. How's my PR? Well, here's one PR, here's another PR, here's a third PR, so definitely not the same, and there's no pattern. And finally, let's find some hidden P waves. So there's one there, and there's one there. Lo and behold, there's one here. Again, that one we can see, that one we can see. Here's a hidden one-ish. There's that one. Guess what? There's one right here. And there is one right there. So a nice march of P to P. Sorry, my drawing is not great, but you get the point. And the QRSs march, but they're not related. Third degree heart block.